So Dale Jackson employees, put this in your back pocket because that's gonna be some real good evidence in your reinstatement case.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
We've been talking about how one of the things about bosses is that there's obviously a profit incentive, but there's also this weird power trip that people go on, right? There's this weird, like, just this power thing, just the idea. We talked about this with Scott Buttram the other day. You know, he just has total contempt. Dale is not this bad, at least for all workers, because Dale has throughout the strike been sympathetic to the miners, at least when I've come on the air. Whereas Scott Buttram, owner and publisher and capitalist of the Trustville Tribune, he literally laughed at them having lost the struggle. But Dale Jackson has been sympathetic, even though he's only sympathetic when I'm on the program with him and he doesn't talk about it any other time. But anyway, but you know, there's just this weird thing where people just feel super entitled, and just any challenge to their authority or their perceived authority is met with indignation. And we saw that last week on the Dale Jackson show, and he allowed that indignation to take him so far that he violated federal law live on the air. So we are going to now play a clip, and we're going to react to it as it goes, because it's kind of a longer clip. It's about 2.5 minutes long. And so we're going to start and stop in places. And so, you know, Adam, be ready to stop that. But we're going to play this clip of now criminal Dale Jackson, right? He's I mean, he's an illegal, I think, is how he would say it. But so anyway, we're gonna play this clip from criminal Dale Jackson here on the show, and we're gonna react to it. Let's play that.
I also appreciate the people who are willing to go back to work. Apparently there is not a lot of those. There's a revolt taking place at Amazon right now because people don't want to go back to work. Yes, that's right. The CEO wants them to show up in the office at least 3 days a week, which I don't understand. I know there's a bunch of people out there that work out of the Arsenal and stuff like this. I don't get it. I really don't get it. There are offices on the Arsenal. It's like, oh, you got to come back 3 days a week. What is the point? Is it about COVID? If it's about COVID, that makes no sense. Just be around each other every other day. I don't know. If it's about maybe making people's lives easier, maybe I do understand that.
Okay, let's just stop it
really?
there. Yeah.
You do. Because, yeah, some people are fully capable of doing their job remotely. And if they're fully capable of doing it remotely, then why the hell should they not be able to do that, right?
Right. And even, you know, the idea that it's not that there's no benefits as far as, you know, infectious diseases go, you're only in the office 2 days a week. Well, what does it mean when you're only in the office 2 days a week? That means there are fewer people in the office on every day of the week. And we obviously know that when there are more people in the office, it's easier for infectious disease, just as a cold thing, you know? And so the idea that he doesn't understand that is weird to me.
Yeah, common sense says
yes.
If you're around people 5 days a week, that's more exposure than being around people 2 or 3 times a week.
And common sense says that if you're around more people, that's more opportunity for more exposure. So that's just a super weird thing. But then, yes, it is a work benefit to be able to work from home. And I mean, I'm of the opinion that I think there's a certain amount of value add from a couple of days in the office. That's my work schedule. I work a couple days in the office, a couple days at home. I think there's some value add to being in the office a little bit. And so that's the thing. Is part of it is like, you know, there's a value add to being in the office, and there's a value add to be able for the competitive nature of your job to be able to attract talent, to say that sometimes you can work at home, but which is most of the jobs on the Arsenal. Like, let's be real. Okay, continue.
By not making them go to work. I mean, I think it's just as simple as we can put this. If you can't trust your employees to work remotely, then you can't trust your employees, and you should do something about that. Okay, I mean that's how I would put that.
Okay, so stop there. See there, like, yes, that's right. Like, if it is the responsibility of management
to manage.
And if you can't manage your employees remotely, maybe there's a discipline issue, but also there's a management issue, and it's on management, and he understands this, and so he keeps going back and forth between, oh, maybe I understand this, and oh, this is crazy. Super weird segment, but we haven't gotten to, he's still before, he's still on the right side of the law, but not for long, not for long.
Laugh at the workers, though. I do, and I say this as someone who has worked remotely for years and does not ever want to go back. I will tell you that. I mean, it has been way easier. Huh. And I'm the guy who resisted going remote in the first place, to the point where corporate had to be like, get out of the office now. And I was like, okay, fine, I guess I will. But Amazon employee.
I do laugh at the workers, though, even though I work from home and it's super easy and I like it and I don't ever want to go back. This is so weird. Why?
Works for me, but not for thee.
Why? This is just so bizarre. So bizarre. And I can't remember if this is part of the segment, but in this larger segment, this 20 minutes or so, he talks about how, I'm special. I think he actually uses the word "I'm special" because I'm on the radio, and it's like, no, you're not. You happen to have a job that can be done from home, and several other people have jobs that can be done from home.
A few million, in fact.
Okay.
He's very upset. Some are even drafting petitions. I don't even get that. Would you ever present your employer with a petition? Just the idea just sounds so foreign to me.
It makes sense. I mean, people that don't want to show up to work, do you think they're going to show up to protest? No. If you work remotely, well, then you sign petitions to protest remotely.
Do you protest your own employer?
Sure, if you don't want to work.
Okay, hold on.
So that's the only reason you might protest your employer is you don't want to work, and the only reason you might sign a petition is because you're too lazy to show up to a protest.
Right.
That's
and the idea is that if you're working at home, you're not showing up to work, but this conversation is happening remotely. Like, this is so weird that who is this for? Because he said we're in the area that we're in is the arsenal. A lot of the people that are listening to him are listening on their government laptops at home. Clickety-clacking and away.
Yeah, but if you do your spreadsheets at home, the office infrastructure, the real estate interests that own and operate these offices and downtowns and such, they're not super happy about that. If you're doing your spreadsheets at home and sending your emails at home. But yeah, it is pretty asinine to think the hypocrisy there in having this conversation remotely,
right.
Speaking to an audience full of people working remotely as they're listening to the conversation, and pretending as if being remote means you don't want to work and you're not working.
Mm-hmm. Super weird. Yeah, let's go.
I don't know. If the people that work for me got together and signed a petition and tried to pass it around publicly, that'd be the list of people that get fired next time layoffs come around. I mean, that's what it'd be for me. I just don't get it. If you want to talk to me about it, fine. And talk to your first line supervisor and go from there.
All right, so there we go. He's got an open door policy, Adam. At the Dale Jackson show, you got an open door policy. You can just, this is what they all say. There's always like an open door policy, and it's always silly. And I don't know, maybe he's a fine boss. I don't know, but he did break federal law. Just there. That's a violation of federal law to say that if you get a petition, that's going to be the list of people you fire in the next round of layoffs. That is a violation of federal labor law. That is a violation of the National Labor Relations Act.
It is. I will hand it to him in this sense. He at least said it out loud.
Right.
He at least said what all bosses are thinking. So I'll give him that much credit for being willing to go on the record in breaking the law and admitting his intentions to break the law.
So I pulled from the language of the law. And I also pulled from an explainer on the Department of Labor's website. So employees have the right to unionize, to join together to advance their interests as employees, and to refrain from such activity. It is unlawful for an employer to interfere with, restrain, or coerce employees in the exercise of their rights. For example, employers may not respond to an organizing drive by threatening, interrogating, or spying on pro-union employees, or by promising benefits if they forget about the union. Section 7 of the NLRA, the National Labor Relations Act, guarantees employees, quote, the right to self-organization, to form, join, or assist labor organizations, to bargain collectively through representatives of their own choosing, and to engage in other concerted activities for the purpose of collective bargaining or other mutual aid or protection, as well as the right to, quote, refrain from any and all such activities. And Section 8A1 of the National Labor Relations Act makes it an unfair labor practice for an employer to interfere with, restrain, or coerce employees in the exercise of the rights guaranteed in Section 7. For example, you may not threaten employees with adverse consequences if they engage in protected concerted activity. Activity is, quote, concerted if it is engaged in, with, or on the authority of other employees, like a petition, not solely by and on behalf of the employee himself. It includes circumstances where a single employee seeks to initiate, induce, or prepare for group action, as well as where an employee brings a group complaint to the attention of management. It is specifically called out. And so, like, has he ever read the law, the National Labor Relations Act, that you're supposed to read as an employer? That you're supposed to actually have, aren't you supposed to have the NLRA hanging up, like, visible in your workplace somewhere?
Well, employers have such responsibility. They have so much responsibility, and they take so much risk.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about the risk. I forgot about the risk. You're right.
Right, there's the risk that you might accidentally break the law on tape, live on air.
So anyway, any employees of the Dale Jackson Show, we're going to clip this, and you just save it. Just say, you don't ever have
save it for that rainy day.
But save it for the rainy day. Put it in your notes file, because if you get fired after you do protected concerted activity, especially under our president Joe Biden, you will probably be reinstated, even if it's going to take several months. But he's not the only one that's done stuff like this. Barstool Sports CEO
I remember that.
Did a tweet saying that he'd fire anybody immediately if they contacted a union. And he had to settle with the NLRB and remove the tweet. Ben Shapiro had to do the same thing. And so because you can file unfair labor practices even if you're not an employee. And that is set up so that, because obviously if you have an employer who is openly, where just anybody can see it, threatening you with retaliation for protected concerted activities, then you can see why maybe an employee wouldn't want to put their name on an unfair labor practice charge. So people who are not employees can also file unfair labor practice charges. And so they did that to the Barstool Sports CEO and to Ben Shapiro. And they had to settle with the NLRB, take down those tweets, and I think even email their employees that they've got a right to, collective action and all this kind of stuff. So Dale Jackson employees, put this in your back pocket, because that's gonna be some real good evidence in your reinstatement case. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.